Okay, all set. Welcome everyone. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Newark Board of Education on October 19th. I'm the chair, Colin Hostin. I'm joined by Dr. Azima, Heidi Keys, Sarah Lemieux, Diana Carpio in person, and Suzanne Koroshetz and Erica De Palma virtually. I'm going to call tonight's meeting to order at 7:04, and we can start with a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And thank you to our wonderful students for leading us in that pledge. From Jefferson School, thank you. And right now we're going to go directly into our spotlight for tonight and ask Dr. Azima to take it away.
Good evening, everyone. The Board of Ed is proud to recognize Brian McMahon High School senior Jacob Coleman for being named the National Merit Scholarship Corporation semifinal. We also recognize Brian McMahon seniors Sofia Cabrera and Isabella De Jesus and Norwalk High School junior Andrea Mejia for being named National Hispanic Recognition Program scholars. Jacob Coleman is one of approximately 16,000 semifinalists included in the prestigious 67th Annual National Merit Scholarship Program. All National Merit Scholarship winners will be selected from this group of finalists. Merit Scholar designees are selected based on their skills, accomplishments, and potential for success in rigorous college studies, without regard to gender, race, ethnic origin, or religious preference. The nationwide pool of semifinalists represents less than 1% of U.S. high school seniors. A perceptive and sharp individual with high aptitude for math and science, Jacob is self-driven to understand how things work, whether it be the 100-year-old math problem or exploring the forces that hold our universe together. As a junior, he joined the International Baccalaureate Program and is a career-related program diploma candidate. This program integrates IB classes with Project Lead the Way classes in STEM field. Not only does Jacob excel at his academics, he is also a member of the musical technology department, co-captain of the math team, a leading member of the robotics team, and a member of the Brian McMahon High School golf team. The National Hispanic Recognition Program grant provides underrepresented students with academic honors that can be included on college and scholarship applications and connects students with universities across the country, helping them stand out during the admissions process. Colleges and scholarship programs use these honors to identify students from underrepresented groups through College Board's Student Search Service. Brian McMahon seniors Sofia Cabrera and Isabella De Jesus and Norwalk High School junior Andrea Mejia are 3 out of approximately 5,000 Hispanic Latino juniors recognized this year. Norwalk High School grade 11 student Andrea Mejia has excelled in the classroom and made a significant impact within the community. Andrea has maintained a cumulative grade point average of 4.038 while taking a demanding course of study, including advanced placement classes, honors classes, and 2 world language classes. Andrea is a 2-sport athlete with field hockey and tennis teams. Additionally, she has held several leadership positions, such as class president, AP ambassador, and helping hand student leader. Andrea is also involved in a myriad of service programs, including fundraising campaigns for parents, beating cancer, and serving as a student ambassador. Let me just make sure I heard this, if I got this right. Beating cancer and serving as a student ambassador and role model, assisting multilingual learners to assimilate to our community. Isabella De Jesus is a well-rounded student who has a passion for math and humanities. Isabella's hard work, perseverance, and consistent effort to improve self and the world around her are evident in all that she does, academically and in her community. She is currently enrolled in one of the most rigorous programs at Brian McMahon. As a junior, she joined the International Baccalaureate Program as an IB diploma candidate. Isabella is also a passionate member of the student government and is involved in the theater and caporales Bolivian dancing. Sofia Cabrera is a highly motivated, intelligent student who excels in math and science. Her consistent determination, perseverance, and patience are evident in all that she has done throughout her academic career. Sophia has been an enthusiastic member of the Brian McMahon Healthcare Academy and is planning on continuing her healthcare career in college and beyond. Additionally, Sophia is an executive member of the Center for Youth Leadership and a passionate contributor to the Hidden Voices Club. The Board of Ed honors Jacob, Sophia, Isabella, and Andrea this evening for your hard work and dedication. We sincerely wish you all the best of luck with your future endeavors and know that you will continue to represent Norwalk throughout your academic career and beyond.
So we have these wonderful certificates of excellence. If you are here,
So we'll just read out the names and call
Yes.
is here.
yes. Please, come on up.
So we have Colton Lavelle.
Colton? Colton here?
Those are the P-TECH ones, I think if you.
Oh.
There are scholarship students up and look
I'm
at
sorry.
the certificates afterwards.
Can we call up
Yeah. So let's just come up for a handshake. Yeah.
Sophia, Andrea, Jacob, please come.
And for him. Yeah.
Oh, you'll be behind the board soon.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Great work.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Congratulations, very proud.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Very proud of you.
Congratulations.
Put that in here.
Very proud of you. Congratulations, well done. Let me move over and everybody.
Do you want to come in the middle?
Somebody come over, yeah, that'd be better.
That way we'll all be in the district together. There you go.
There we go.
Ready?
Oh, you're good, you're good. You're the star.
You're the star.
There we go, we got you all.
Smart, do my best.
That's what I'm doing. Big smiles,
see through your eyes.
You can tell. Yeah. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Making Norwalk proud.
Colin, did I sound good?
Yeah, these are different ones. I didn't keep it. We're doing both?
For the second spotlight, I'd like to acknowledge P-TECH students win national competition. The Norwalk Board of Education is proud to recognize P-TECH Norwalk grade 12 students Vincent Coppola, Seamus Hurley, please correct me if I'm pronouncing his last name wrong, Raymond Lynn, Klaus Schroeder, and P-TECH graduates Colton Lavelle and Caitlin Negron for their achievements in the national P-TECH competition. This past summer, 800 IBM interns from P-TECH schools around the US were tasked with presenting a solution to a challenge proposed by their assigned business unit. The interns received a presentation template to utilize and were judged on 4 pillars: innovation, market, feasibility, well-developed solution, and a presentation quality. The winners of each business unit then went on to P-TECH Internship Expo, held in late summer. IBM executives served as judges of the final competition. Working together as Team Nebula, Vincent, Seamus, Raymond, Klaus, and Colton prevailed, winning first place with their innovative solution, chatbots for restaurants. Team Nebula worked through a full design thinking process, ensuring their product was most conducive for the end user's experience. They did this by investigating the emergence of chatbots and digital assistants discussed common benefits and concerns around the emerging tech, suggested ways to expand their usage, and scaffolded its implementation for both the restaurant's customers and employees. Vincent, Seamus, Raymond, and Klaus continue to take college classes and are on track to graduate with their associate degree at the end of this year. Colton was the first P-TECH Norwalk graduate to earn 3 Associate of Applied Science degrees from Norwalk Community College. He now has a full-time position working with IBM. Former P-TECH student Caitlin Negron also participated in the IBM internship this summer. Negron and her team won in the first round among interns in the Global Business Services Unit and competed in the Internship Expo. Her team was challenged with a creating post-COVID solution for their assigned industry that integrated either artificial intelligence, Watson, the cloud, or all 3. Caitlin received an associate's degree in web development from Norwalk Community and is currently studying psychology at DePaul University. P-TECH students can earn an associate degree in software engineering, web development, or mobile programming at no cost by taking courses at NCC during high school. A partnership with IBM gives students access to mentorships, work site visits, paid internships, and potential permanent positions. The Board of Education honors Vincent, Seamus, Raymond, Klaus, Colton, and Caitlin for your great achievements. We look forward to seeing you where your path takes you next and which ideas you choose to pursue.
I believe they're watching on YouTube tonight.
Oh, okay, well, congratulations on YouTube. And we have these certificates that we will send to you in the mail. Excellent. Oh my God, so good to focus on some wonderful news. So that was a really great spotlight. Godfrey, now we have public comments. I don't think we got any emails. No. Is there anybody here who'd like to make a public comment tonight? Oh, go ahead.
Mary Jordan from Norwalk Federation of Teachers. I am so proud to hear of the accomplishments of our students. It's what we all work so hard for, and it's so delightful. I'm also so proud to be part of Norwalk Public Schools at this time with all of you at the helm. When I saw the equity statement that's proposed, it stands Norwalk apart from other communities at this time. I think it's really important leadership to provide for our district. Norwalk Federation of Teachers, the American Federation of Teachers of Connecticut shared the goals of the mission of an inclusive environment, teachers want to be able to have that protection and have that leadership at the top to be able to engage in rigorous learning, allowing our students to engage critically and explore the world in a way that includes people that look like them, sound like them, and a whole range of experiences in the world. So we celebrate your support. The AFT and the State Department of Education, the CEA, we spent the summer kind of scrambling, worried, creating statements, and we just celebrate the work that you're doing here tonight in that regard. Also, we want to give a really heartfelt thanks to Sarah Lemieux and Heidi Keys as they are finishing up their hopefully victory laps of the last few weeks on the Board of Ed. We appreciate that you stepped up, Sarah, in a very challenging moment when I don't think that was necessarily what you were expecting to build your resume with. And we really do appreciate the work that you have both done, Heidi, in your work on the policy, especially committee. You've done a lot of good work there, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary. Are there any other public comments? If not, we will move straight ahead into the superintendent's report, introducing Superintendent Dr. Alex Estrella.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here today as we engage in deeper conversations about some of the items that are, we've had an array of conversations around particularly transportation, but before we go into that component, there is a little piece that I want to share that is not on the agenda, but I would like to add if it's okay with the chair. So I have a little statement that I would like to read of some of our board members, and a lot of appreciation comes with this because of all the years of service that many have provided as they're transitioning to new endeavors within the community and life. First, I want to give a special thank you to Suzanne Karavish, who has, sorry for screwing up your last name, who has dedicated to this district an enormous amount of years of service as a principal and recently providing service to our community as a board member. She's concluding her term in a few days, and although short, we just want to make sure that we acknowledge and appreciate you, Suzanne, for what you have done for us as a district and as a community. We really value you, and we're really sad not to see you try to come back again. So thank you. We have flowers for you, but we'll make sure they get to you by tomorrow. So let's give Suzanne a big round of applause. Before I transition into the other statements, I just want to make sure that the chair and the mayor, if you want to share a few words, or any members of the board.
You know, I'm very proud of this Board of Education. Excuse me, my voice is a little hoarse from the debate last night. But, you know, Sarah and Heidi, working with this board, have taken this board to a new level of professionalism, accomplishment, and done so many things, and volunteered so much of their time that it's really hard for any administration to find people willing to do this. But they stepped up to the plate, just like all these other board members did. And they really, as I said, made this a professional board that had the best interest of our children at heart, did everything they possibly could to make this a world-class school, a world-class education for our young students. And we are forever in their debt for helping to do that. So I just want to say thank you very much. We are absolutely going to miss you. We know you're going to be around in the event we need some help, and we're not going to be afraid to ask. So again, thank you so very much.
I'll add, thank you, Mayor, well said, and I think we're going to affect Sarah and Heidi a little bit more too.
Yeah, I want to go into, I want to do each one separately, so.
I will just add, to Mary's point, many of us as board members found ourselves thrust into a very unexpected moment in these past 18 months. Suzanne made the decision to come onto the board in the middle of that moment when we found ourselves with a vacancy. And I think that says a lot. I mean, there's not much question, but if there were a question, it says a lot about her dedication to this district, our students, and our community. Suzanne, we are so grateful for your contributions, not just as a board member, but throughout your tenure here at Newark Public Schools. Come back anytime.
Thank you. So Sarah Lemieux, never forget the day I met you. I was so nervous. So Sarah Lemieux joined the Norfolk Board of Education in 2017 after holding school governance council roles at West Rock Middle School and CMS. A Norfolk resident with children attending MPS, Sarah's priorities for joining the board included improving curricula and outcomes district-wide for all children. Her background in educational psychology made her a strong advocate for hands-on, project-based learning across all disciplines. We were just having a conversation about this just a few days ago. She strongly believes in the district's work to close the achievement gap and build equity for all, as well as the benefits of social-emotional learning. An accomplished musician, composer, and performer, Sarah has a true passion for music and the arts. As an art educator and program designer, Sarah brought to the board her extensive experience working with special needs students and underserved populations. She is a strong supporter of the district's visual and performing arts programming and an advocate for arts access on behalf of all students. Sarah serves as a vice chair of the board for 2 years. During a time of transition of the board, Sarah stepped up by taking on the position of board chairman, like the mayor had articulated, and many others. She brought a spirit of teamwork to this role, with an emphasis on respect and inclusion. I have to say that it was a pleasure working with you as a chair. She has also served as a member of the Special Education Adhd Committee, Policy Committee, and the Negotiation and Personnel Committee. Sarah, we thank you for your dedication to Norfolk Public Schools and appreciate all of the time you volunteer to support our students and staff. We wish you luck with your future endeavors, and we look forward to enjoying your considerable musical talents and future performances. So with that, we will with a plaque for all your years of service and all the great sweat and dedication you gave to the children of Norwalk. So let me. And we have a little case for you, so you can. And I don't know if any other board member would like to share a few words before we talk a little bit about Heidi.
No, I just wanted to take the time to really appreciate Sarah taking leadership at the time I joined the board. The tone that was set, the leadership by modeling was, quintessential and essential to really having this board become one. And Laura mentioned earlier, the inclusivity and your capacity to listen, remarkable. My experience with you has been authentic, and I will surely miss you. Thank you.
Guys.
Yeah, it was touched upon very, briefly in Dr. Estrella's speech that Sarah also headed up the ad hoc SPED committee. And I just want to recognize that as someone who inherited her good work. What a heavy lift that was in her time on the board. She came on right as a CREC report needed to be addressed, and on a very lengthy line item basis, Sarah headed up that committee and knocked down all of those technical requirements. And it was truly an accomplishment to get us where we are today, and something that I have been blessed to build on. So thank you very much, Sarah.
Thanks.
And we have oh, they already gave you the flowers.
Yes.
They are faster than wonderful. Okay, they just disappeared. So, moving on to the other outstanding member of our board. Before I read my piece, I have a little surprise for you, Heidi. So, I think my surprise got stuck in a room. My text is not coming. Can you knock on that door for me, please? Oh, my text worked, you see? So we have a very special guest here today as we celebrate and honor you and thank you for your years of service. So we will turn it over to your beloved husband. Let's give her husband a big round of applause because he allowed her all these countless hours to come here and serve us.
Brought some flowers for him. Husband that I am. Well, I need to put on my glasses, unfortunately. So, as you can imagine, I'm Heidi's husband, Bob. But some people may not know me, but some of you may know that this is one of Heidi's last meetings after 12 years. That's a lot of years. I just want to say a few words about my wife. It's interesting to be a spouse of a board member. I'm sure you have partners, loved ones at home. They quietly sit back while their wives or husbands or partners or loved ones are busy spending hours conducting board business. I'm sure your family members go through the same thing. I often say on some nights, Heidi, are you coming home, coming to bed? She would be on the phone with Dr. Estrella or some other board member. I remember when she decided to run for the Board of Ed, she said to me, I think I'm gonna do it. And I said, what? What are you gonna do? She goes, I think I'm gonna run for the Board of Ed. And my response is, you're gonna do what? And she said, and I said, Heidi, you're not involved in politics. You're not political. You have no experience running for public office. And her response, well, it's not a political job. It's about the kids and I'll learn, which is exactly what she did. We had our kids in Norwalk Public Schools at the time, and she believed it was about trying to give our kids the best education and the best education for all the students in Norwalk. That's really how it first started. Being a parent advocate for kids, that's how a lot of you probably got involved in that, deciding to run for the Board of Ed. And that was her mantra, helping to do what's best for Norwalk and their students. It's really that simple for her. I know it never mattered to her whether you had a D or an R next to your name when it came to the board. She was always willing to work with whoever had the same mindset or even a different mindset. That didn't really matter. So what makes her special is that her ability to listen, be reasonable, and always have the best interest of the kids and parents when making decisions. I'm sure you all can attest to that. She was lucky through the years. She had some really good board members to work with. Of course, she had Mike Marcus, Mike Lyons, Brian, Eric, Lynn, Diana, all of you here. And I know I'm leaving some names out. I know Dr. Estrella wanted Heidi to run again. But we made a pact when she started. She said that when our last child graduates, she would step down and give others a chance to step up. And our daughter, as you know, graduated from Norwalk High last year and is now a freshman like your daughter at Marist College. So Heidi's true to her word. She wants to do what's best for you and for the board to continue your good work with passion and courage for the best of the kids and families of Norwalk. And I know that you will continue to do that. Some of you may not know, but after winning her first election by 6 votes, within weeks she was diagnosed with breast cancer. Of course, that's a physical challenge but it's also a mental challenge because you cannot help but think the worst sometimes. I know she had doubts about moving forward with the board, but this is where the role of spouse and family comes in. We talked it out. I supported her, as did my kids. We propped her up when she needed it, and she carried on. See, Heidi is incredibly determined in what she wants to be. Of course, that takes courage and resilience, but she also had support from her fellow board members at the time, and I remember that. It helped. It gave her time to heal, and accepted her when she was ready to come back, and I thank you for that, and I think because it really did make a difference in her life. I'm also here to say that my wife is my inspiration, as many of the things I have done. I'm lucky to have her in my life. I stand before you as a certified teacher, but for my wife and a little help from Mike Barbas, I probably would never have had the courage to make the transition from 25 years career as a lawyer to a teacher. Something that I really love to do at this point. And because right now, I am a certified teacher as a business education teacher in another district. But she encouraged me like that throughout our entire life together. Thank you very much for that, Heidi. I appreciate that. But what I really want to say is, Heidi, you've done an incredible job on the board. I know that I'm biased. I know you would say that you've had help, and I know that you have, and I know that's true. But you helped so many. You've been through several administrations with Dr. Marks, Dr. Rivera, Dr. Adamowski, and now Dr. Estrella. And I know that we're all very glad to have you on the board. You've made many friends. Not all were happy with some of your decisions through the years, but you held your head up high, made those decisions despite not always being popular. You really had courage and conviction and resilience. I'm so proud of you for that. In fact, our kids, Jordan, Hannah, and Rebecca, are so very proud of you as well. All through the years, you were an incredible mom and wife, maybe not always the best cook. You were there for us despite the hours that you did your job. Now, as soon to be former board member and empty nester, it's our time to focus in on ourselves and our family. I love you, and I look forward to this new chapter in our lives.
Well said, Bob.
Nicely done, Bob.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, beautiful. Wow. Oh, it's so nice. Oh, my neighborhood. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, thank you. Oh, my gosh. Hi. Thank you. Hi.
That, I just want to let you know, okay?
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm really grateful to all that you've done as a North Public School teacher at North High School, and I'm grateful for the kids that you had to give it to us. I just wanted to let you know that a couple weeks ago, Mike Barbas gave me a call, and he said, you know, Heidi's stepping down, what do you think about that? And it's become kind of a tradition that our neighborhood Silver Mine has really presented a historic map of our neighborhood to people and officials that have always stepped up and supported our neighborhood. Okay? So as the president of the Norwalk Neighborhood Association, NASH, I'd like to present you with the map.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much from all of the residents of our neighborhood for all you've done the last 12 years.
Thank you.
Okay, it's hard to follow that, right? But we have a few words from the board, well, from the Board of Education that we would like to share about Heidi and her years of service. As a member of the Board of Education for 12 years, Heidi Keys has demonstrated exceptional dedication to Norwalk student staff and schools. Heidi has always been deeply invested in both the school system and her community. A longtime Norwalk resident, Heidi herself a graduate of Norwalk High School. Her children also attended, like her husband mentioned, Norwalk Public Schools graduating from Norwalk High School as well. In Heidi's tenure as a volunteer, elected official on the Board of Education, she has served in many leadership positions. Since 2014, she has served as chair of the board's policy committee, guiding the BOE through the important work of policy development and updates. As earlier mentioned, bringing forward the equity statement today as one of her big accomplishments. Her commitment to the work has been unwavering, as we see in the equity statement that we will present tonight in our agenda. Heidi has served on the board executive committee as vice chair, as well as in the role of secretary, where she implemented the spotlight feature. She has contributed her expertise as a member of many other committees, including facilities, finance, personnel, and negotiations, and inclusion and educational justice committees. In addition, she held several liaison roles, including adult education, and represented the board on the Norwalk Early Childhood Council. A tireless advocate for early childhood education, Heidi has a passion for supporting our youngest leaders. Over her years on the board, she advocated for early childhood initiatives designed to promote early literacy and school readiness, and was a strong supporter behind the launch of the Norwalk Early Childhood Center. Heidi has been open about her own battle in beating cancer, not once, but twice, like her husband mentioned earlier. But despite those personal challenges, Heidi's enthusiasm for our schools and commitment to students and staff never wavered. Her impact has made a difference throughout our entire school system, as you've heard from many today. Heidi, we thank you for your long-time dedication to Norwalk Public Schools. We wish you the best of luck as you explore this new chapter in your life alongside your husband and family.
Beautiful, thank you. Oh,
And we have, well, you saw how quickly that happened? As we continue to engage in what many consider very difficult times, it is so important to celebrate and honor the great work that so many have done in some of the most challenging times. So it's great to start this evening with celebrating so many accomplishments that have been acquired, obtained by so many people throughout our community, particularly our board members who are not paid to do this work. They're volunteering their time, and it's a pretty thankless job. So we are so sad to see you go, and we hope that many great things happen in the work that you're going to do ahead. With that, we're going to move into transportation.
Can I just say one thing quickly?
Sure.
First, I want to thank Bob and Jordan, my son Jordan. It's emotional for me tonight, so I'm trying to keep it together. But, you know, I think when you start out as a member of the board, let me take this off for a minute. You know, it's a passion and it's a drive and it's something, it's almost like in your blood. You know that it's the right thing to do. And for me, I just felt like I needed to keep going. Like I just felt like my work wasn't done. So, you know, as both Bob and Dr. Estrella mentioned, you know, working with superintendents and board members and, you know, first starting with interim superintendents, and then we had Dr. Marks, Dr. Rivera, Dr. Estrella, Dr. Adamowski prior to Dr. Estrella. You wanted to continue the good work and be supportive of your superintendent as well as your fellow board members. And, you know, I feel like, as I mentioned, it's a passion, it's a drive, and if I didn't have the support of my family, I probably wouldn't be here 12 years later. You know, when I started, my kids were really young. Some were in Columbus. I know Medarn is here. I'm Medarn. Starting out in Columbus, we had West Rocks Middle School, Norwalk High School. I'm a product of Norwalk Public Schools, so is my husband. And we felt, you know, you want to give back, and you spend thousands of hours. You know, you spend a lot of time, but it's a passion. It's a work passion, and you want to continue and succeed. So
I'm holding it together, as I mentioned. I'll probably cry as soon as I leave, but I've loved it. I've loved all my 12 years. Some years and sometimes were challenging. You definitely, it could be challenging, especially during budget season, but I feel like you just kept going and knowing that it's almost like you're a steamship. You keep going, you plow through, and it's the right work, and some of the challenges you face, but you're doing the good work that needs to get done. So thank you, and I'm sure I'll be talking to all of you, only a phone call or a text away. So thank you, everybody, tonight for everything and for everybody coming out tonight.
I just want to say, we are clearly losing such longevity and experience through Heidi and Sarah, and of course, our recent loss of Mike Barbas. That's a lot of years of experience that we're losing in one fell swoop. I just feel, as Godfrey said earlier, very grateful to have served in a slight overlap with all three, because I know they're leaving very, very, very big shoes to fill, but I think they've given us a really great foundation to build on, and I want to thank you for that.
And Heidi, I've said it to you before, from day one that I stepped into that room, you took me under your wing. You were my mentor, and I always said that when I grow up, I want to be just like you. So thank you for everything, your experience, your patience, and I've learned a lot from you, and I hope that I could do you proud.
Thank you.
Not to echo everyone else, but I knew there was a special place the board had in your heart, knowing you had the amount of kids that you had being a board member. And I know many of our conversations really have balanced in terms of the insight, and validating I'm not crazy to be thinking about other people's kids as much as mine. And some of that and your leadership are really things I will truly miss. There's no question you are an example of what it looks like to be tenacious and committed. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, but you're not done yet, so let's go through this meeting tonight.
Wow. So we're going to celebrate a little more. We have a transportation update. I think it's important to just keep the board abreast in terms of where we are, especially since we transitioned to the old start time for the time being. I think it's important to provide a brief update. So Sandra Fayolis and Joanne will provide an update.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, board members. I feel honored to be here tonight while we say goodbye to Heidi and Sarah and Suzanne. Good evening, Dr. Isaiah and Mayor Rilling. Luckily, I have good news since we're all celebrating. And I have Joanna here with me also so that we can make ourselves available to you if you have any questions. And Heidi, I don't know if this is your husband's phone, but somebody left their phone.
Probably.
Okay. So very simply put, we are averaging a 95% of our buses arriving on time since we started the new old start time on the 5th. Before that, just to remind you, we had started the academic year with an average of 50% arrival on time. We then put several interventions in place, especially drawing from the North Police Department. We were able to raise that to about 68, 69%. But now we're averaging a 95% on start time, which is what Joanna had stated during our first meeting that we brought this to your attention. So that's definitely a reason to celebrate. We track every morning how our buses are doing. We have the GPS and we have Zonar and all the other tools that we instituted. The other residual of this that I think was an unintended consequence, but a great result nonetheless, is that the percentage of students that are riding the bus has increased from 64% when the last time when we reported it to you to 90%. So we actually have more students getting on the bus, which also helps with traffic with the parents' drop-off. But I think it's also an indication that they are also happy to be on the buses, you know, so we've been able to address quite a few issues in a short amount of time and hope to continue that progress as we move along. So we're here for questions, or if you guys wanted some insider information from Joanna Zambetta, I couldn't do this without her. She's here with us, and we're open to your questions if you have any.
Nice job.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, that's a great update. I just want, one question, the bus tracking app, I know that's done through Durham, not the district.
Correct.
Have you heard any feedback about the app in terms of how the parents' experience has been with it?
There were some glitches on the transition. Even though we had about 2.5 weeks to prepare, we needed to keep the data live up until Friday prior to the transition. And we made the transition over the weekend with the instruments and the tools that were already in place. Unfortunately, there were still some glitches that we needed to work out, and they currently are up and running, and we haven't really had too many calls over the last 2 days.
Awesome, thank you.
And today we were hitting 97% on time.
We were
working on that 3%. My goal is 100.
Marcus today has made it clear that the goal is 100%, so we keep striving.
Excellent. That's great news. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just to, before I conclude the superintendent report, the document talking about all of the highlights of the school year have been mailed out. And community members and family members are already receiving it. So we're really excited. I don't know, Brenda, if you want to just provide some insight on that really quickly.
Good evening, everyone. So that's the state of the schools report. It's the 4th year that we've put it out, and this year, you may have received it already starting over the weekend. This is the first year that it has gone out in print in both English and Spanish. And it also includes the new strategic operating plan in there as well, in addition to a review of 2021 in the school year. So we will have both those in Haitian Creole online as well. So it gives an overview of the last year, just like we've done the previous years. Again, out to all communities in Norwalk, about 36,000 households overall.
It's great. Thank you.
Any questions from the board? That concludes the superintendent report.
Okay. Yeah. You crying yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
The very end.
Look at
I'll save the best for last.
Thank you, Dr. Estrella and team. That takes us into our action items for tonight, starting with the consent calendar that allows us to approve personnel transfers, budget transfers, trips, and the minutes from the last board meeting in one vote. Unless anyone prefers to vote separately, we can easily do that. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar? Thanks, Heidi.
You're welcome.
Seconded by Godfrey. All in favor of approving the consent calendar, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye. Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you, everyone. The next item is a statement about ADHD Awareness Month, which I will read and then put out to the board. The Norwalk Board of Education recognizes October as National ADHD Awareness Month to educate the public about attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder by sharing reliable information based on the evidence of science and peer-reviewed research. This year's ADHD Awareness Month focuses on reframing ADHD discovering new perspectives. Equipped with reliable information about ADHD, we encourage people impacted by ADHD to seek assessment, get appropriate treatment, share resources, and celebrate successes. ADHD is a neurodevelopmental disorder affecting both children and adults around the globe. ADHD, AD/HD, and ADD all refer to the same disorder. Some individuals diagnosed with ADHD may have symptoms of hyperactivity, while others may show symptoms of inattentiveness. Medical research shows that ADHD is both genetic and a brain-based disorder. The factors that appear to increase a child's likelihood of having the disorder include gender, family history, prenatal risks, environmental toxins, and physical differences in the brain. ADHD affects people of every age, gender, IQ, and religious and economic background. We know that failure to accommodate and understand ADHD in school can have negative effects on learning and social performance. Children with ADHD may have trouble paying attention, controlling impulsive behaviors, or be overly active. As we navigate COVID-19, the biggest concerns for adolescents and young adults are social isolation, motivation problems, and difficulties engaging in online work or schooling. However, when children, teens, and adults are diagnosed early and receive supports and treatment, they can lead fulfilling, successful, and productive lives. A combination of multimodal treatments such as medication, psychotherapy, behavioral interventions, and educational interventions and support focus on reducing the impact of ADHD, accommodating the symptoms, and leading to improved outcomes. By declaring this ADHD Awareness Month, the Board of Education encourages the community to reflect on this disorder and to seek out information that will help them to understand and appreciate the challenges that their peers are facing. Our long-term vision is to move past awareness and to accept and embrace individual differences. So I don't think we need to vote, but I would just call for a motion in support of this statement. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Excellent. And our second item is about Bullying Awareness and Prevention Month. Norwalk Public Schools is pleased to join others across the country in recognizing October as Bullying Awareness and Prevention Month. In October and throughout the school year, NPS students, staff, and parents work together to raise awareness and to promote a positive culture that eliminates bullying. Bullying is unwanted, aggressive, repeated behavior among school-aged children that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. Bullying includes actions such as making threats, spreading rumors, attacking someone physically or verbally, and excluding someone from a group on purpose. Bullying can also take place through technology. NPS staff utilizes positive behavioral strategies and social emotional learning curriculum in the classroom, small groups, or with individuals to encourage a school environment that is positive, safe, welcoming, and inclusive. Programs such as Rethink SEL support healthy and confident K-12 students by promoting well-being, connectedness, and success across the entire school community. Second Step programs with research-based lessons promote the social emotional development, safety, and well-being of K-8 students. Students also participate in Start with Hello Week in September, a Sandy Hook Promise program that teaches students to be more socially inclusive and connected to each other. Another strategy currently being utilized at Silvermine Dual Language Magnet School is the No Bully System. The No Bully System is an evidence-based prevention and intervention program whose mission is to eradicate bullying and cyberbullying worldwide. The goal of No Bully is to reduce incidents of bullying, improve school culture, reduce school violence, and support educational outcomes. Staff and parents received No Bully training last year, with another parent training scheduled in the coming months. A group of Silvermine staff members also trained to be solution coaches. Solution coaches facilitate teams of students and empower them to bring bullying to an end. Coaches then follow up with any students stuck in the role of bully or target. At NPS, we encourage students to speak up when they see an issue or injustice happening, but know that this is not always easy. To encourage the concept of if you see something, say something, students and parents have access to an anti-bullying app called Anonymous Alerts. Anonymous Alerts provides them with the ability to report bullying and safety issues quickly. Through the app, issues are anonymously reported to school administrators and counselors. This includes reports of suspicious activity, safety threats, bullying, drug abuse, depression, harassment, family issues, and self-harm issues. By declaring October Bullying Awareness and Prevention Month, the Board of Education encourages all Norwalk students, parents, and community members to spread messages of kindness, acceptance, and inclusion. And again, with a show of hands, or an aye vote, I'll ask the board to approve this statement.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. And now we move on to item 4C, the discussion and possible approval of our proposed equity statement. And I can maybe open it up to Heidi,
Sure.
who led the policy discussion on this to get us started.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. I think that was a nice segue into bullying that you were just discussing in that statement, which was very, very important. Thank you for doing that tonight. You know, the equity statement, we spent a lot of time, many, many months, policy committee, Brenda, myself, Dr. Fergus, Dr. McBride, Richard Lemons. We also had some surveys, some focus groups, I know, Brenda, that you've worked on in the past regarding this. Also, an integral part of the statement was getting the feedback and the active discussion from the Center for Youth Leadership, our student leaders that and I've always felt as a policy chair and the policy committee, really having them involved in many of our policies, which we have in the past, especially something as important as equity and statement. So they were key in this. You know, we worked on it, we worked on different drafts, we sent it to them, we got their feedback, and then we had another active discussion during our last policy committee meeting. And again, I want to reiterate, it is a statement that we've worked on. It's not an actual policy. At some point, I'm hoping the policy committee will carry on this work and move on to a policy, an actual policy, but we felt it was so important to at least have some kind of statement. We did discuss as a policy committee to have this statement. Hopefully we can approve this tonight, and really disseminate the information out to all of our schools. We'd like to have it displayed. I know we've discussed on framing it, working something out with all of our respective schools and our individual principals, how they'd like to handle that. But again, we know the important work that's behind this, and having our student leaders is an integral part of getting this statement out. So there was a lot of feedback, a lot of discussion, a lot of engagement on this, and we felt that the final product and the statement is what we wanted to put forth to the board tonight. Normally, for any of our policies, we have mini meetings on it. We then, if we have an action, we approve it, we bring it to the full board for active discussion, and then the subsequent meeting is a possible action. In this case, it's a statement. It's not an actual policy, so I thought it would be best if we could bring it to the board, if the board would like to have further discussion on it, or if they think they'd like to keep it as is, which we are presenting to the board tonight, and hopefully move that on to action, approved, and then disseminating it out. The information, our cabinet leaders will disseminate it out to our principals. I think that says it all.
Great, thank you, Vivek. And I would love to open it up to the full board for any discussion at this time. I will say, for my part, I think that the recent strategic plan that we approved as a board has made equity a foundational focal point. And I think it's so important to articulate what we mean by that, both for ourselves to guide us in this work, but also for our larger community members who may sometimes hear the word equity and not always appreciate exactly what we mean by it. And so I'd like to propose that we read the statement out loud. I don't know if everybody's been able to read it. It's been online, but I think it's important for us to share this statement as it currently stands, so that people understand that this is not about curtailing opportunity for any student, but rather expanding opportunity for all our students.
Colin, I wanted to say I had a note, read for the record, so
read it for the record.
It's fine, but I agree. Like a lot of our, again, this is a statement, not an actual policy, but understand the verbiage, what we're trying to say, our mission that was already approved and our vision, and then just kind of going through the actual statement. So you're right on it. Thank you.
Do you mind if I read it?
Absolutely, you can read it for sure.
So this is the proposed equity statement. The Norwalk Board of Education firmly believes in the potential of all students to learn and succeed. We support equity, diversity, and inclusion as fundamental values of our school district to ensure access for all scholars. We stand united in respecting people of all backgrounds and identities, regardless of race, socioeconomic status, gender identity or expression, sexual orientation, religion, nationality, citizenship status, or disability. Our schools are safe and welcoming environments for all. We are dedicated to fostering authentic relationships with all members of our school community, including culturally diverse families, and will communicate with clarity and respect. To prepare our students to succeed in a multicultural, global society, we support our schools in teaching the contributions and viewpoints of all people using culturally relevant curricula. Race or ethnicity, language or socioeconomic status will not be barriers to accessing academic, social, emotional, and extracurricular opportunities. The board believes that a high-quality school district provides equitable opportunities, policies, facilities, and experiences that produce meaningful outcomes for all scholars. So I think, hopefully articulating this idea of equity in such a very thorough, but also clear and precise and simple way helps to dispel any confusion that people may have. This is not about holding anyone back in the for the sake of equity. This is about expanding opportunity for all students. And I really want to commend Heidi and the entire policy committee for this is a very thorough statement, and I would be happy to approve this tonight.
Mr. Chairman, I think this is a wonderful statement. Excuse me. It makes a statement, makes it very clear, and encourages parents and students alike that Norwalk Public Schools is going to be a place where they can achieve and do well and develop to their fullest potential. And it makes us accountable. It holds us accountable for delivering. And that's what Norwalk Public Schools and the city of Norwalk is all about. Thank you.
I think it was also, if I could just add on, that it was visible. We discussed it and we talked about we really needed this, this statement in every school, in all of our schools. Clearly, anybody that's coming in, staff is aware, students are aware, it's a living, breathing document in every one of our schools.
Yeah. And as was stated earlier, I think it's important to have in the schools so that our amazing faculty and staff know that they are supported from the very top when it comes to teaching an inclusive curriculum that invites all students to be part of the work.
May I add something?
Yes, Sarah.
Hi, sorry, I'm a disembodied voice now. I want to add my thanks to Heidi and the policy committee for this work and everyone who has been part of this work. I think it's amazing. I think it's a gorgeous statement. And I have one tiny word. If nobody else is feeling it, that's totally fine. The one thing that I would say is, when we use language like regardless of, that makes me think of a deficit mindset a little bit, like, you know, regardless of your gender identity or your race or your ethnic background. What I would choose is welcoming instead of regardless. But that's literally just my tone feeling about that. And I don't know how anyone else feels about that.
Can you repeat the word, Sarah?
Welcoming.
Welcoming. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcoming. I, you know, personally, as the policy chair, and everybody can add in, I think welcoming is fine. We can discuss it.
No, I like the intent of it. Yeah.
I get the idea behind the word.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna, just to say that that's what we're doing. We're welcoming everyone. We're not, you know, like that's where we're celebrating and welcoming everybody.
Yeah.
Works for me.
If I was in the policy committee now, I would talk to my policy committee members, but we'll discuss with the board. What do you think? So is everybody on board with that?
I think it's a good ad. Yep.
Yeah? Okay.
Is there any other discussion or comment on this statement? If not, then I'd love to call for a vote to approve the statement as amended. Motion, Heidi?
Make the motion.
Thank you, Heidi. Seconded by Godfrey. All in favor of approving the proposed equity statement as amended, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
And that's unanimous. And again, thank you.
Thank you. I was just going to say, since 2014, I was on policy before that, but became chair in 2014. So this is my final policy, but I think it's a robust, I'm sorry, not policy, statement, but kind of segue into,
Yeah.
all good.
It's a good bookend. Okay, excellent. Thank you. The next item for discussion on our agenda is the proposed early retirement incentive for the custodial bargaining group. You know, this has been in discussion our personnel committee, and I don't know if Godfrey, you want to just set the stage here for us?
Sure. Also invite Tom and set up as well, just to give any additional light. But this plan was modeled after the early retirement incentive that the city offered to city employees last year. The offer provides an additional 3 years of pension service credit to the defined benefit pension to which eligible employees will receive. In addition, the early retirement plan removes the actuarial penalty for those who retire prior to normal retirement of 62, and provides that employees between ages 55 to 58 receive the same retiree health coverage as employees between the ages of 59 to 65 under the current collective bargaining agreement. In order to be eligible, an employee must be at least 55 years old and have 10 years of service with the district. Tom, with that, I'll let you fill in any colorful highlights, you know, from our work with this bargaining unit.
Sure. Again, this is really modeled after the early retirement offer that was offered last year to city employees. In this case, we were particularly interested in offering it to this bargaining group because there are some offsetting savings as a result of having some turnover in this bargaining group. We do believe there are cost savings that will more than offset any cost impact of the early retirement offer itself. So we have gone through the exercise of retaining the city's actuary to determine what the actual cost impact to the pension fund is of the early retirement offer. We've also estimated or developed the cost associated with the health insurance. Those two costs are outlined in the memo. And then we of course don't know how many employees might take the offer. There are 38 eligible employees. We don't expect that they will all take it, but we do think there is likely some interest among these employees in this retirement offer. If we assume that about half of them, or if we assume that 16 of them took it, there would be some cost saving. There'd be cost savings of about $663,000 a year, and net savings of about $300,000 a year. We have had several discussions with the city's chief financial officer, Henry Dakowitz, as well as with Ray Burney, who is the city's personnel director. So they are aware of this, and this is because this is the city's pension plan. It's the municipal employees' pension plan that these employees are in. This retirement incentive will need the approval of the Common Council. So assuming it gets approval from this board tonight, we will then forward it on to the appropriate city officials so that the Common Council can take it up and decide if they're going to approve it. The actual agreement itself, which we have provided you a copy of that, does provide that the board has the right to essentially pull the, to revoke the incentive at your sole discretion on a date no later than December 20th. And of course, the entire offer is contingent upon approval from the Common Council. So if the Common Council were to turn it down, then it would not go forward. But otherwise, employees who are interested in this will have to notify us by November 26th, and their retirement would become effective on December 31st, assuming the plan gets all the necessary approvals. Happy to answer any questions, and we do believe this is really a win-win situation for the employees, as well as for the district and for the city.
Great, thanks, Tom. I'll open it up to my colleagues. If somebody has any questions? I think it seems fairly straightforward, and certainly, if it offers some employees a chance to retire early, all the better. If it saves the district some money, even better. If there's no further discussion, I'll go ahead and call this for a vote. Do we have a motion to approve the proposed early retirement incentive for custodial bargaining group?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Godfrey. Seconded by Diana. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Excellent. Passes unanimously. Thank you. And that concludes our action items for tonight and takes us into our information and reports, starting with the monthly financial report. Did you go forward, Tom?
Back. Okay, you have the September financial report in your package. We're 25% of the way through the fiscal year, but only 10% of the way through the school year. And at this point, we have expended just over 11% of our operating budget for the year. The total expenditures to date are $23.7 million, which is below last year's $36.1 million at the same time, although there are several large items that are really timing issues that account for most of the variance compared to prior year. Just a couple of highlights for you. Obviously, the largest category of expense in the district budget is wages, which is everything in the 100 series of accounts. And there's a couple of items to note here. One is under the 119 object code, which is for other certified staff. You'll see we've spent 508,000 year-to-date compared to expenditures of 1,128,000 at the same time last year. You'll also notice that there was an original budget in this particular line item of about $9.6 million, and we now have an adjusted budget in this line item, excuse me, that's gone down to $4.8 million. And what that reflects is the decision that the board made when you adopted the budget. You'll recall that we had built in a negative number of approximately $6.9 million related to the budget decision from the city to flat fund the budget for the current year, with the understanding that we were going to have additional federal funding coming in, the ESSER 3 grant, the $24.8 million grant. And so the explanation we were given was that we ought to use that grant to cover increased costs. So what we did when we balanced the budget was we originally set a negative number in the budget because we weren't sure which costs we would move over to the grant. We made a decision after examining the uses to which those funds could be used. One of the things those funds can be used for is for social and emotional support to students, and therefore we moved over a significant portion of our school counselor wages from the local budget to the ESSER grant for next year. So that's why the budget went down in that particular line item. It was really an accounting thing, and that explains the excuse me, the big variance there. The other thing I had mentioned to the Finance Committee is the numbers are running on the wages a little lower than they were at the same point last year. And that is in large part because we do still, at least at the point that this report was run at the end of September, we did have some vacancies still in the district. So as you're maybe aware, we really have had some extraordinary turnover due probably to the pandemic and pandemic fatigue and many other factors, but there are some vacancies that as of September, the HR department was still filling. In fact, you had them on your agenda earlier tonight. You saw a number of appointments on your agenda tonight. So we will continue to monitor that as we go forward, just to project where we are, but that does account for some variances in some of the wage accounts year over year. Benefits, you'll see in the fringe benefit account, no charge year-to-date as of September. This is really a timing issue. The city controller's office books these expenses on a quarterly basis, and they had not yet booked the first quarter as of the end of September. They have since booked the first quarter. That was booked, I believe, last week, and so there's really nothing unusual going on there. Our special ed accounts, other professional and technical services, as well as the out-of-district tuition accounts are running pretty much in line with expectations. Let me just see if I have any other notes that are. Transportation is also another timing issue. Last year, this is in the 510 account. You'll see last year we had spent $6.5 million, and this year we've only spent $9,600. That was really a timing issue. Transportation was prepaid last year, and we haven't, as of the end of September, had not paid transportation, any significant transportation bills yet. And I might have one or two. Oh yeah, okay, I've got a couple of other accounts just to point out. The 611 account, instructional supplies, as well as the 730 with instructional equipment. You'll notice that there are some fairly big increases from the original budget to the adjusted budget, as well as a fairly significant expense in instructional supplies as of September. We spent just over $1 million in that account, and the budget district-wide in instructional supplies went from $1.5 million to an adjusted budget of $3.9 million. What that reflects is the carryover that was recently approved by the Board of Estimate and Taxation of funds that have been encumbered as of the prior to June 30th of last year. In this case, it was a variety of curriculum materials that had not yet been received at the point the books were closed in early August. They have since been received on these materials, and the bills have been paid, and the funds have been carried over by the Board of Estimate and Taxation from the last year into this year. So those are the major points that I just wanted to draw to your attention. If there's any questions, certainly happy to answer them.
I think, as usual, you anticipate all the questions, so thank you for your thorough work.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda are committee representative reports. This is for any work being done in committees that we did not touch upon tonight that anybody thinks they want to give us a heads up about. I'll just say in finance, we are getting prepared and eager to go into the beginning of our next budgeting season. So glad the mayor's here.
Well, I'm listening.
If there are no other committee reports, I will also open it up to my colleagues for any board member announcements you'd like to share with the public tonight. Heidi?
I'll start us off. I just wanted to thank everyone and for Dr. Estrella and Joe Masfari for putting together the celebration of life for Mike Barbas this past Sunday night. It was beautiful. It was inspirational. Some of us spoke. I spoke, Diana and Dr. Estrella. Most of the board members were able to make it. And, Mike had so much impact. He, worked tirelessly for North Public Schools. And many of us said this during our speeches, and I won't be redundant on what we said that night, but, he was a tireless advocate and very courageous. Ruffled many feathers, but always stood by his beliefs and knew what he needed to do for Norwalk Public Schools. And, he lived and breathed, which I mentioned, the children of Norwalk, all students of Norwalk. And he was deeply passionate about the work. And again, just many, many hours, many days, many weekends. And I mentioned, he also became a certified teacher. And as Bob had mentioned, he inspired my husband to kind of go back to school. So education was at the core of his being. So I just wanted to mention that, as well as just tonight, it's bittersweet not having Mike here. It's just, very sad for me not to have him here for my final day, or my last day, I should say. But, I appreciate all the board members that I have with me tonight, as well as board members that I've worked with, over the past 12 years, and there's been many. So I feel as if, it's time to give others a chance. You worked for a certain amount of time, and I've always felt the time on the board was a job, a job that I always took seriously, whether it was volunteer or not. I felt it was a passion of mine, and now it's time, the old cliche, to hand the baton over to someone else. So it's the right thing to do, and I just wanted to thank everyone again, and Mike, again, will be sorely missed, and he's in our thoughts every single moment. And that's how I wanted to end it, so thank you.
Very well said. Absolutely. I was going to echo that same thing. I think we had a great turnout on a very cold night from members of the community. And just so everybody knows, we were able to unveil a memorial bench, a buddy bench that will be installed at Rowayton Elementary School and inspire generations of young people to extend a hand of friendship in Mike's honor. Okay, if there are no other board member announcements, I would like to ask for a motion to go into executive session to discuss pending claims and litigation. If we can have that motion. Heidi, thank you. I'll second it. All in favor of going into executive session to discuss pending claims and litigation, please say aye or raise your hand. Okay, thank you. We'll be heading into executive session. We'll come back after our discussion to during the meeting. Thanks, Cheryl. Mute.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, do you have to vote to come back out of executive? No, we're back at just executive session. We are back from executive session, and there's one last item on the agenda, which is our adjournment. Hey, do us the honor.
Motion to adjourn?
All in favor?
So moved.
Okay,
Thank you.
excellent. Erica, I believe I saw her hand go up, since we need 5 people to vote, so thank you, let the record show.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.